Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining. Thanks for your practice. Thanks for being here. If this is your first time, look around. There's videos on this channel. Not the YouTube search, but the homepage of this channel search. You can find how to use this resource, keywords, and there's videos I've done on availing yourself to all this free information, the audio podcast, the text, the downloads, the PDFs, and so forth on threefoldlotus.com, etc., etc. For those of you who've been here for a while, and those of you who are able to support this channel, whether it's through Patreon or directly through PayPal, or through things you send to the Kun directly, like candles, incense, whatever, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much. We all thank you for that. All right. Now, got that bit of business out of the way. Not that it's insincere. I truly am grateful. What was I going to say? How appropriate. One thing I wanted to mention today was, I talk a lot about, Shakyamuni talks a lot about, our samsaric condition of distractions. Constant distractions, yeah. And I have to say, get my lighting right here. I've noticed as I've gotten older, I know the old man in me is going to come out now. This memory problem. Yeah, we all know you get older, you get forgetful, you forget. It's a wonder I remember my own name. Seriously, there are moments, like walking out to the school this morning. I had prepared my scarf. I ironed it out. It was too wrinkly. You've seen it in the last couple of videos. And I prepared it to be more like a sash, and it was all nice and ready, and I had it laid out, ready for me to go out. And I left it at the house. There are distractions that knock my mind, my continuity to things out of whack that I don't even realize are distractions until I get all the way out here to the school, for instance, this morning, and I get dressed and I think, man, I'm an idiot. It's really, it's self-deprecating, but we can get very upset with ourselves that we're so easily taken off track. Well, my friends, this is the samsaric life condition. Whether it's because I've been around 65 years in this life, or if it's actually part of the, arising, abiding, degradation, dissolving, I don't know. What I do know is it's no different than when I forgot stuff when I was 10 years old or 17 years old or 28 years old. How many times have you gotten really angry or upset with yourself and thought, how did I forget? It goes from missing an exit on a road because you're zoning out driving or just whatever. But the reason I bring it up is because as annoying as those moments are, what we don't generally realize about ourselves or see about ourselves is that we're kind of led by the nose by our distractions. There's the forgetting things, and we can identify that as, somehow my brain got distracted and blew apart a plan. What we don't see so much is that our plans, what we think we want to do, are largely driven by the same kind of distractions. It's kind of alarming to think about that because it suggests that we're not really in control. Talk about unsettling, yeah? Oh no, I am the master of my destiny. I know what I'm doing. I know where I'm going. I have a plan, right? Talk to anyone who's been through an advanced degree, even a PhD, and they'll tell you stories about where they weren't sure, even after a year or two or more, that they were doing something that they really wanted to do, rather than what seemed convenient and directed, and makes you question, what do we think we're doing? And, even in the simplest of life, and I'm, even unschooled, we think we're changing our minds. We're just falling through life, picking it up as we go. And generally, people seem to negotiate that as okay. What generally takes the slack in that, and the slack I'm identifying as the lack of direction, just falling is a direction, yes, but not very proactive, is it? So who steps in to give us a sense of purpose, a direction to go? Apple, Ford, Budweiser, programs like movies and, not just cinema, but television, variety programs. All of them are plugging into our attention. Our monkeys go, in the middle of a program or a commercial, we'll go, I want pizza. Let's get a pizza. Oh, look, a beer right now would be perfect with that pizza. We're so directed. We're so told what would be enjoyable, what would make us whole. The latest iPhone, the latest AMD processor, the latest car, the latest bathing suit, the latest haircut, whatever. You sit back and you really ponder that, and you start to wonder, do I ever have any thoughts of my own? I mean, we've gotten used to accepting those thoughts as though they're our own. Well, I decided to get the pizza. Yeah, right. You're just acting on a stimulus. I'm telling you, the more you think about this stuff, the more you think, what in the hell am I doing? Who am I really? Am I just this moving commercial target to move the economy along? Largely, yeah. Oh, but Sylvain, I have a son, I have a daughter, I have my parents I take care of. I have some true things I'm doing in my life. Okay. I'm not saying they're not. But I'm saying, what about all the surrounding behavior? Does your child really need the latest flavor of Tostitos? Really? How deep do you want to go here? What I'm talking about is our value of life. Who's marketing that? Who's telling us, when you deeply consider the foundations, the motivations, the very mechanism of life, do you ever do that? Do you ever wonder what it all means? Right? These are memes, memetics that go through society and they're momentary little blips of thought, and we don't pay much attention to them. I'm not saying get sullen and withdrawn and get depressed thinking about this stuff. I'm just asking you to consider that maybe, just maybe, the whole reason for this Buddhist practice, the whole mechanism of self-enlightenment, is about answering and evaluating and experiencing that incredible truth that isn't marketed, it isn't fashion, it isn't ephemeral, it isn't the latest version. It's something of solidity and purpose that's built under your feet, that remains a solid reference of who you really are and what everything really is, as you have your beer and pizza, as you teach your children, from a place of nurturing the life, not the product, the assemblages of mimetics, the popularity, the marketing, the politic. That's samsara. That's all there. It's not going to go away. We're not trying to make it go away. What we're trying to do is detach our value meter from those things. Just see them for what they are. Oh, now we're going to play the PTA game. No, I know I said that derisively. Yeah. Even, you know what? The PTA game could be incredibly value creating if you come to it from the standpoint of creating that jewel of primacy, that a priori mind of how do I create value of life, for life, in the PTA. How do we discuss the information we rule upon for all children based on creating this profound value and understanding of life, not politic, not what Republicans like or Democrats like. Life. Life should be the only thing we satisfy in this life. It's so brief. Why get caught up in all of this other blah, blah, blah? Yeah? Why not focus on life? Why not let that be our guide? How do I make the most brilliant child? That's what PTA is supposed to be about. Parents working with teachers, working with the system to provide opportunity for growth in that lotus blossom, yeah? How do we do that? Not by cutting things out. Yes, we need to protect them, but they need to learn to protect themselves. And protect them from what? Your opinion? Your political stance? Whoa, 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 whoa. We just fell into samsara again. Right? Buddhism is about how we put our thoughts together. That's why distractions are so important to recognize. Because the more the monkeys come in and chatter, we can't think straight. We can't think with dignity. Dignity. Dignity for what? Life. Not just yours and mine. Life, all life. Yeah, I can't put it any plainer than that. That's Buddhism. That's why Buddhism. Okay? So, let's continue with our buddies Mahamati and his crew, thoughts, and Shakyamuni. And see how Shakyamuni 3,000 years ago was trying to make this stick, this idea. Because Mahamadi is challenging him every which way he can, yeah? But that's okay, because we do that to ourselves, don't we? So, useful, expedient means, teaching, sutra, giving us an idea of how our minds stand in the way with all our predilections and prejudices and mimetics and fake accomplishments. Well, I know this book backwards and forwards. Well, good for you. Do you know what it means? Do you know what significance it has in the valuation of life? Yours as well as all life, the universe? Well, I mean, it says on page 46, shut up. What do you think it means that it says that? It means that if I memorize it, then I'll be Buddha. No. Okay. Therefore, Mahamadi, let the Bodhisattva Mahasattva be in conformity with the meaning and not with the letter. Knowledge, quote unquote, is great, but knowledge as experience, the wisdom part, that's what we're looking for, because that guides our knowing. That guides our epistemology, if you're a fan of that word, which really means how our thoughts are built upon prior assumptions that we don't even think about. Right? Mahamadi, a son or daughter of a good family, in other words, a family that strives for betterment and enlightenment, who conforms himself or herself to the letter, will ruin his or her understanding of the ultimate reality. You're so busy qualifying everything, right? Thingifying, serving the monkeys, and will cause others to fail to recognize the truth. Now, that's an important statement, especially regarding how I opened this video. What about your children? What about your siblings? What about everyone around you? Aren't they also your children? Isn't this what Shakyamuni has said through countless sutras? The Buddha sees all as his personal only child. That's not some clerical, mystical statement. That's a genuine, cellular, heartfelt connection, emotion regarding compassion. How many of you, if I said right now, I see all of you as my children, would look at me right now into this camera lens, look at my eyes and think, you haughty so-and-so. But that's not how I mean it. I don't own you. See, that's how we think of our children. I have children. And as I have that child, it will do as I command it. That's how we see samsarically. But what about the parent that sees the child as its own independent orb of light? And that all we want to do as a parent is see that light grow. See that light feed itself on life. To the bewilderment and surpassing of one's own accomplishment in that regard. Not an accomplishment financially, not an accomplishment politically. Screw all that. That's samsara. How many of us think of our child as a self-generating enlightenment? I'd venture to guess it's pretty damn rare. And if it happens at all, it's momentary. And it usually happens after the fact. When we see our child do something totally outside of our direct ordering commandment, and they do something and it amazes us. In that moment, we get it. But how much time of the day do we spend fostering that to happen, looking for that to happen, giving the child the tools to look for it by themselves? That's the kind of only child connection that Shakyamuni talks about from the standpoint of Buddha-ness. Our Buddha-ness wants to see this in everyone that we encounter. That's the influence I keep talking about. That's the observational awareness that I keep talking about. How do we achieve that? Through practice, through instantiating our Buddha-ness all the time, every day, all day. How the hell do we do that? It's all I can do to chant for half an hour, Sylvain. Cool, chant for half an hour. Maybe every now and again, chant for 2 half hours, or maybe 3. Why not? See what happens then. See how you walk away from your Butsudan and into samsara with 2 hours of chanting in your gut. Tell me you don't feel different. Break your habits as often as you can, because it is in those disjointed, unconnected, falling through life moments where, oh, look at that. Never saw that before. Honing your Buddha mind will do that for you. Don't pray for it to do it for you. Make it do it for you. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo is me saying, I am now. Hello, Gohanzan. Let's do this. Buddhahood. Let's do this. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. That's what that means. It's not a prayer. It's not a plea. It's an instantiation of a mind that's just there waiting to do that. A mind that's just at your fingertips, but the word isn't coming. You ever feel that way? That's your Buddhahood. That's your experience of Buddha-ness. Just right there. Just. So set it free. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. You will feel it. Challenge yourself as many times as you can think to do so. Remember Nichiren said, I've achieved a point now where I truly feel as though I'm experiencing Namo Myoho Renge Kyo 24 hours a day. I'm in it. Does that mean he's just walking around going, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, glad to meet you, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo? Not like that. But in his mind of awareness, everything is Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Everything is enlightenment. Everything is a mirror of children, balls of light, growing, self-expressing, self-experiencing the grandeur of life. This is what he's trying to explain to Mahamati. This isn't something you're going to read in a book. It's something you need to find in yourself. It's your mind you're wrestling with, not the book mind, right? It's the way you live life. Continuing to cherish wrong views, one's own assertion is confounded by the philosophers who do not understand well what characterizes all the stages of the Dharma and who have no adequate knowledge as to the interpretation of words. They're just masters of words. If all of their words point to something sublime, they must define it with more words. They never actually experience it. If they well understand what characterizes all the stages of the Dharma and are adequately equipped with the interpretation of words and expressions and have a good understanding of the meaning and reason of all things, they will properly enjoy by themselves the bliss of formlessness, while others are properly established in the Mahayana, because their influence will be clear. Just by being. Being properly embraced in the Mahayana, they will, Mahamati, be in the embrace of the Buddhas, Shravakas, Pratyekabuddhas, and Bodhisattvas. Being embraced by the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Pratyekabuddhas, and Shravakas, they will in turn embrace all beings. Here we come right back to the same point. When you make this identification shift to not identifier, but being, life, no identification needed, and everything becomes an instantiation of that very same reality, how deep does the kinship grow? How deeply do you experience other aspects of the life? It's not their life. It's not my life. It's life. What a connective tissue that is. Embracing, and that's what he means by embracing, all beings, they will embrace the good Dharma. That's that powerful influence. They may not be able to put words to it, but they'll know it. That superior wisdom that comes only from experience. The good Dharma being embraced, the Buddha seeds will not be destroyed. That's that inspiration we all get from sensing that superior Dharma, that wisdom, yes? Hard as hell to put words to that. It's almost a diminishment to put words to that. You just want to be in that. You ever feel that after you chant for a while? Can't put words on it? Can't define it? Just feel like everything seems brighter. I feel more alive? And words fail. But that's what we do. When the Buddha seeds are not destroyed, the excellent abodes will be attained. What does that mean? When our influences from Buddha-ness are felt, experienced, right? Where we are, who we are, how we feel, our environment, everything shifts. Everything is realized, identified, independently. It's an odd sensation. It's not what we're used to. Those abode, the pure land, as opposed to the defiled land. Just another way of saying the same thing. When thus these excellent abodes are attained, Mahamati, the Bodhisattva Mahasattvas will see to it that all beings, being established in the Mahayana, are born there in excellent abodes, and fortifying themselves with the tenfold supernatural power and assuming various forms, they will discourse on the Dharma in conformity to its true nature, and with a thorough knowledge of various wishes and characteristics of beings. Now the true nature of things is characterized by non-differentiation and trueness. It is neither coming nor departing. It puts a stop to all idle reasonings, distractions, and it is called the truth. This is so profound. And yet the words, they seem to skirt around it. They can't, words are a samsaric device. It's something we created to act as a communication of experience, but experience is experience. It can't be defined with words. It can be pointed to, as he was saying, but we tend to look at the finger pointing instead of what? Can't find it. Because it's not out there. Therefore, Mahamadi, let son or daughter of a good family take good heed not to get attached to words as being in perfect conformity with meaning. Don't get rid of the words, but understand that they're just a pale communication trying to conceive of an experience that's offered, that's already existing, that needs to be discovered, reached, maintained, that is well outside of the experience of words, and yet the words exist because of this life, this amazing process that we can witness, experience, be cognizant of in our samsaric form. Because the truth is not of the letter, but not like the one who looks at the fingertip. There it is. For instance, Mahamadi, when a man with his fingertip points at something to somebody, the fingertip may be taken wrongly for the thing pointed at. In like manner, Mahamadi, the people belonging to the class of the ignorant and simple-minded, like those of a childish group, are unable even to unto their death to abandon the idea that the fingertip of words there is the meaning itself, and will not grasp the ultimate reality because of their intent clinging to words which are no more than the fingertip to them. To give another illustration, Mahamadi boiled rice. By the way, he's identifying Mahamadi earlier here, isn't he? Because Mahamadi actually asked, and we can go back, I don't want to, but all the way in chapter 2, aren't words the meaning? Remember him asking that? Isn't there meaning because we have words? Remember? So he just tore that to shreds, didn't he? Shakyamuni, that is. Boiled rice is the proper food for infants, to whom somebody gave uncooked food to eat. In this case, this one who is to be considered to be out of his sense because he is not knowing how to prepare food properly for the child, gives the child uncooked food. You have to prepare the food for the child. A child doesn't know how to do it for itself, right? In the same way, people generally don't know how to focus on Buddha-ness, the experience of life proper, without all of these distinguishing, discrimination, identification, ego. They have to be brought along. That's what the discourse is for. It's not the answer. It's the training toward the answer. Just like the child, we want to grow into a self-aware being. Mahamadi, it will not manifest itself to anybody unless he is well disciplined in it. The practice. Therefore, you should most assuredly discipline yourself in this and not be like one who, grasping at his own fingertips, sees the meaning there. What a great visual that is. Where are you going? Here, look, here. This is where I'm going. I didn't know Shakyamuni was such a comedian. That's hilarious. Wow, how many of us have done that? For this reason, Mahamadi, you should energetically discipline yourself to get at the meaning itself. Stop looking at your fingertips. Look ahead. Look at where you are. The more you look ahead, the more you'll perceive that ahead is all around. You're in a sphere. You're not in a line. Oop. What the hell does that mean? Mahamadi, the meaning is alone with itself and is the cause of nirvana. That effort is what emancipates. That effort is what gets you there. Words are bound up with discrimination and are the carrier of transmigration. How ironic. The words themselves, I mean, there's no argument there. The words specifically are discriminations. Yeah, language is born of identification, discrimination, so on and so forth. Yeah. But it is in their conversant use that we can move toward, influence, conceive of something outside of the words. But if you're just enamored with the words, you'll be stuck. You need to go beyond the words, the scriptures. Don't like that word because it makes something holy out of words. That's not where the holiness is. Words are bound up with discrimination and the carrier of transmigration. Meaning, Mahamadi, is attained from much learning. And this much learning, Mahamadi, means to be conversant with meaning, not the words. Let the words of communication with others come by themselves. Focus on what? The meaning? I would say focus on the destination. Focus on the goal. Focus on Buddha-ness, just like my talk about the PTA. Stop talking about the rules and regulations and the head counts and the funding and the blah, blah, blah. Put primary on the top of the board. Dignity. Embracing all potential of life. How do we then construct a foundation of words, thoughts, actions to edify, to move toward, to embrace that goal? And if it doesn't work in that goal, get rid of it. Get it out of the way, because it's an obstacle. You know, that's how Aristotle defined happiness. You've heard me talk about this before. It's very simple. Aristotle said, if you want to be happy, set yourself an impossible goal. Seemingly impossible. Set a goal that's so high, so vaulted, that you must observe every action you take in your life in order to accomplish that goal. That way, decisions are easy. Should I do this? Should I be responsible? Should I be irresponsible? Should I just do Oh, I have to do this because that's what gets me to that goal, right? And if all you do every day is make easy decisions because they all have this goal, then you're happy because you're accomplishing your goal. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. And if one day you wake up and you make a decision and it doesn't work out, or it works out, but it leads to a goal that looks a little different than the one you had before, then maybe you need to do one of two things. Adjust your path or adjust your goal. Get that right and get on with it. Happiness. Well, here it is, folks. Shakyamuni Buddha. Long time before Aristotle came about. Maybe Aristotle read Shakyamuni. Translations of his sermons, anyway. But all great thinkers, they come to some form of understanding this. That there must be something grander than you and your flesh and your possessions and your little actions of survival. There's a greater thing at work in the universe here, and we need to pay attention to it, because once we do, then all that other busy work becomes valuable. Without it, it's just the doldrums of life. That's why I'm so depressed. The same old thing, different day, same blah, 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 right? SSDD. Same stuff, different day. I know it's not stuff, but... So set enlightenment as your goal. Set Buddha-ness as your goal. Set the awareness of the distinction of every single instantiation of potential in the universe. Your life, her life, his life, their life, the dog's life, the tree's life, the planet's life, right? When it all equates to the same process, the size of your identity kind of becomes this photon's cloud of existence. It ceases to be just this. It's so much more. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. All right. Are we almost done with this section here? That I can leave you? Yeah. Okay, let's just finish this. Meaning Mahamati is attained from much learning, and this much learning, Mahamati, means to be conversant with meaning and not with words. To be conversant with meaning means to ascertain the view which is not at all associated with any philosophical school, and which will keep not only yourself but others from falling into the false views. Inspire others to aim for this great dignity of life, yeah? Being so, Mahamati, this is said to be learned much in meaning. Therefore, let seekers for meaning reverently approach those who are much learned in it. But those who are attached to words as being in accord with meaning, they are to be left to themselves and to be shunned by truth seekers. Don't be derailed by snake oil salesmen, is basically what he's saying. Well, that was a pretty comprehensive answer, I thought. All right, Mahamati. What's he going to ask next? Stay tuned. We'll get into it in the next video. And I have to thank you again, about 2/3 of the way through. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening, participating, asking questions. Even some of you just do a shout out in the comments, and I deeply appreciate that. It's great to know that you're out there listening. Our numbers are they're growing, so please don't forget to subscribe. And if you liked the video, like it. If you didn't, dislike it, but say something. All I want to do is give you what we need, right? Make these ancient teachings relatable, which is what Nichiren, our mentor, as I'm just trying to emulate Nichiren. It's what I'm trying to do. I'm not at all suggesting I'm an embodiment of Nichiren, but certainly his dedication, his will to bring this teaching as correctly and as clearly from Shakyamuni to everyone. Nichiren is phenomenal in that regard, and an inspiration to me, certainly. So if I can do bodhisattva work that even approaches, or at least is inspired by his great works, then that is the MO, the modus operandi of my life. Anything else I do it's enjoying life. And if it's not, I don't do it. Right? I haven't painted in a while. For many years, I cranked out paintings, prolific. But doing this on this channel with you guys for the last several years, but certainly in the last couple, has been so amazing, rewarding, great, hugely an experience that I can't even pick up a brush. I can't begin to feel this kind of immensity with painting anymore. Maybe I'll return to it. Maybe I'll see it in a different way. But right now, this is so amazing. Thank you for being a part of it, and I'll see you in the next one. All right? Bye for now.